Namaste, Pranam, Gita Dhyanam. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Grathitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitam Ritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatvam Bhagavad Gite Bhavatveshinim. Oh, Bhagavad Gita, with which Lord Narayana himself gave enlightenment to Partha. Ancient sage Vyasa included it in the Mahabharata. O goddess, contained in the 18 chapters and showerer of the nectar-like knowledge of non-dualism. O my affectionate mother, the destroyer of rebirth, I meditate upon thee. And now, salutations to Lord Krishna. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansachanuramardanam Devakim Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. O son of Vasudeva, the slayer of Kansa and Chanur, extreme delight for Mother Devaki. O Lord Krishna, the supreme teacher of the universe, my salutations to you. Today we take up the 31st Shloka of the Sankhya Yoga, the second adhyaya of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Swa-dharmam chāvekṣhya na vikampitum arhasi dharmyāddhi yuddhāch chhreyo kṣhatriyasya na vidyate nyat kṣhatriyasya na vidyate. Sri Krishna is now again, just to make sure his beloved disciple, his beloved child, his great friend Arjuna, he understands what has been told to him in order to get away with that despondency, get away with that dejection, and get up, stand up to fight the evil enemy in this righteous war. Now Sri Krishna is again trying something else to teach him. In this Sankhya Yoga, initially he has told Arjuna about on the philosophical grounds of why you should not be despondent, why you should not grieve, why you should not feel sorrow in getting engaged in this war, and maybe all most of the enemy warriors, they will be killed at your hands. So what? The death is only for the body, not for the Atman. And Sri Krishna explained to Arjuna about the vastness of the Atman, the permanence of the Atman, the immortality of the Atman from philosophical perspective. Then maybe Sri Krishna thought this is too high a philosophy for Arjuna to absorb at this juncture, the stage in which he is right now in. Maybe he won't be able to get into that high level of philosophy. So later in the same adhyaya we have seen that he has changed his way of teaching. But fine, consider Atman same as the body, at the bodily level. Now if that is the case, why one should grieve for the physical bodies, which are of course bound to die, which are bound to undergo that natural cycle of birth, growth, decay and perish. So even if you consider Atman to be like that, why should you grieve over it? Why should you grieve if you kill somebody in the righteous war? Now that also doesn't look to be sufficient for the great Guru Sri Krishna, that that would convince Arjuna that he should uttishtata and then get ready to fight. He is still not in that mode. So now Sri Krishna is slightly changing his way of teaching, taking it at the level of duty. Atman part is over. Now Sri Krishna is, through this 31st shlok, he is telling Arjuna that you should not swerve from your duty. We should not deviate from your duty. And that is what Sri Krishna is now telling. Swa-dharmapi chāvekṣhya. Swa-dharma is one's own duty, what one has to follow righteously. Swa-dharma. Api, also. Cha, and. Avekṣhya, looking at. Now looking at this particular thing as part of one's duty, one's rightful duty also. Vikampitum na arhasi. Vikampitum is wavering. Na, not. Arhasi, you should. So you should not waver. You should not, deviate from what is supposed to be your righteous duty. Swa-dharma papi chāvekṣhya, looking from the standpoint of duty, looking from the angle of performing one's duty, then also you should not waver, you should not hesitate in doing it. Dharmyāddhi, that is dharmyāddhi, righteousness indeed. Yuddhāch chhreyo, yuddhāch chhreyo. Yuddhāt is than war. Chhreyo is higher, superior, better. Nyat, other. Kshatriyasya na vidyate, is not higher for a Kshatriya. Now, the meaning of the shloka is, now Sri Krishna is telling, again, fine, all that Atma, body, all those things are gone. Now, I am going to tell you something about your righteous duty. He says, again, looking at your duty as well, you should not waver, you should not deviate, for there is nothing higher than, there is nothing superior to a Kshatriya than a righteous one. Being born a Kshatriya, it is your great fortune that you have got this opportunity of getting engaged in the righteous war, where you have got this opportunity of slaying all the evil, slaying all these evil-minded cousins of yours who have brought in so much of anarchy. So as a Kshatriya also, there is nothing higher than performing your duty in this righteous war. Now, Sri Krishna is calling it a spade as spade. That enough of Gyan, enough of the philosophy of Atman and Deha, of immortality of Atman and the perishability of the body, the immutable nature of the Atman and ever-changing nature of the body. Forget about it. Now, duty. So, Swami Chidbhavanandaji's commentary on this shloka is, a Kshatriya holds righteousness superior to mere living. It is a great boon, it is a great opportunity, it is a great fortune for a Kshatriya to get involved in the righteous activity. Not the evil activity, righteous activity. And Mahabharata is the righteous war. It is the war being fought for dharma, war being fought for ethics, war being fought for morality. Now, by waging a war of the kind that has come about, righteousness is upheld, but by beating a retreat from it, unrighteousness is allowed to thrive. Now, if Arjuna doesn't, take part in this war, he says, okay, fine, no more fighting. I am going back. My Gandhi has fallen from my hand. And Arjuna himself is conditioned. His throat is parching. His skin is burning. He's even feeling feverish and all that. He has slumped into the chariot. That is running away from one's righteous duty, and that is in a way supporting. That is in a way giving all his exceeding his consent. For the evildoers, you go ahead. Which is very much like a Kshatriya, which is a quality of a non-Kshatriya. Because Kshatriya means he has to fight for the righteousness. He is no Kshatriya who suffers unrighteousness to prosper. And the man who takes to evil ways in preference to the good estranges himself from shreyas. Arjuna, being the disciple of Krishna, such a great friend, a bosom friend of Sri Krishna, he has to tread the path of shreyas, not the prayers. He has to walk on the path of being a shreyas, of being highly moral, being highly spiritual, being highly philosophical. And not a a grieving person, not a sorrowful person, not a person who is all the time worried, not a person with all those negative traits. No, he's no more a prayas. He has to be shreyas, and unless and until he treads the path of righteousness, he treads the path of morality, he treads the ethical path of wiping out the evil, he cannot lead the path of being a shreyas. Holding on to one's swa-dharma is a sure means for gaining of shreyas. Now, what is swa-dharma? One's duty as given by the nature. A Kshatriya's duty is to protect the innocent from evildoers. That is the Kshatriya's duty. A Brahmin's duty is to get into the priestly activities, get into the activities of rightful teachings. One who doesn't get into the activities of rightly teaching, righteous teachings, of helping, of elevating the people from lower strata to higher up, he is not a Brahmin. Similarly, all other caste elements, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, all these have been formed based on certain requirements in the society for certain tasks. And whatever is your lot that has come to you, that is your swa-dharma. Now, if you fail in doing that, you won't be doing justice to the duty that has fallen in your lot. You won't be doing justice to the swa-dharma. And therefore, Sri Krishna is now telling Arjuna from a different perspective of what is the swa-dharma, what is one's own duty. You are a Kshatriya. It is your duty to protect the innocents, to protect the downtrodden, to protect your praja, to protect your subjects in a rightful manner by not allowing evil to have their sway. You should crush the evil. You should crush the wrongdoers as a righteous Kshatriya. That is the swa-dharma. And now, these the verses that we will be reading for a few more days, verses 31 to 37, Sri Krishna is going to tell Arjuna of the philosophy of swa-dharma, philosophy of one's own duty, how one should not waver from one's own duty, how one should not run away from one's own duty. In fact, that will be the biggest sin that anybody can do it. That is the biggest sin anybody can incur if one is running away from his duty. The duty of a teacher is to teach in the right manner, teach properly, do that duty. Duty of the student is to study well what the teacher is teaching us, understand everything correctly, and retain that teaching, and in future bring out that teaching into practicality to help the society, to help the family, to help the community. That is swa-dharma. Every person has got his own swa-dharma, his own righteous duty to be followed. If everyone does that, we will never find anarchy in this society. There won't be any requirement for getting rid of the evil elements, getting rid of the unrighteous elements, getting rid of the wrongdoers. Because there won't be any wrongdoers if we all follow our swa-dharma to the 100%. So that is what now Sri Krishna is up to. Imbibing on creating that firm impression in Arjuna's mind about how to do and why to do your swa-dharma righteously. Why it is so important to follow the righteous path of doing your swa-dharma, the own duty, the self-duty, duty for the self. So that was 31st shloka. And for today, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Sri Ramakrishna. Jai Thakur. Jai Swami.